Good evening, everybody. This is your captain speaking. Welcome on board First Time Flyers. I'm your pilot, Joe, and I'm here with my co-pilot, Viv. Today we'll be departing for The Last of Us. Fasten your seatbelts, secure your baggage, and prepare for takeoff.
Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
We're at the finale of video
Finale
games.
of video games.
There are no more video games after this.
There's none. There's never been another
There
adaptation.
will be another adaptation. This is the end.
This is the end. This is the natural end of video games.
We did choose it because it was like kind of a funny name to leave at the end.
Yeah, I think it was either you or Garen. Someone made a joke of
I think it was Garen.
Yeah, the final one should be an adult show. And to be honest, it does breathe a bit of fresh air into this. But it is kind of funny how we've gone from, so this connects to Nintendo and this connects this way. And the last 4 episodes were very linked in a lot of ways.
To
and
Nintendo.
It's just completely separate. But that's good. Because, we're not just doing Nintendo again.
Yeah, we're not doing Nintendo. We're playing PlayStation, the video game console for the adults.
Exactly. PlayStation Portable. It's like a nut you can play with.
It's nice to have... It's interesting to see a natural progression of how these things have been adapted.
Yes.
All of these have been for children.
Yeah.
Animated?
Other than the Mario segments, but overall animated.
They've at least had an animated section.
Yeah.
And obviously there's animation within this. There's a lot of CG. However, this is an adult story.
Yeah, it's not... People don't count CG as animation.
Yeah, but this is quite interesting.
Yeah.
This is the... Actually, you have played a little bit of it now.
Yeah.
You played a little bit of it just before recording.
Yeah, so I'll go first, I guess, because mine is very short. I've never really had much of an attachment to The Last of Us. I've obviously always known about it because of your liking of it, which you'll talk about in a minute. But I'd never actually sat down to play the games because by the time the zeitgeist was kind of around, I'd already knew basically every little thing there was to know about it. And I always had an appreciation for it, the ideas of it, but I never actually sat down to play it.
I can imagine it being oversaturated to the point where it's off-putting.
Yeah, essentially. And then Last of Us Part 2 came out, and I was thinking, is this the time I should finally play it?
And then you heard there was a trans person in it.
Exactly.
And then you were like, nope, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole.
Nah.
Happy Pride Month. This will be on Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month. Yeah, there we go then. So, a great way to start Pride Month.
Yeah. Pride one out.
Pride one out. Yeah. If we've stuck to that, we should have some fun logos for this month. We're doing rainbow capitalism.
Yeah, we gained so much capital from this, and this thing doesn't totally cost us money and time.
Exactly. But I just never got around to it. And then, to be fair, when I got a PlayStation Portal last year, just because I prefer handheld gaming, even if it's in the house, I just like being able to sit anywhere. I did see that the subscription I got for a year of PlayStation Plus came with a bunch of PlayStation first-party games, and The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, the remastered versions, are included in that. So I was always like, one day I'll get around to it.
Which remaster? There's like 6. All the jokes.
But yeah, I never played the original on PS3, never played the PS4 version. I've only played literally up till where episode 1 ends today. I was thinking of direct comparison.
I was thinking of rewatching that part because I literally played through The Last of Us when it first came out in 2013.
Yeah.
And I haven't touched it since then. I played, obviously, Part 2 a lot more recently, but again, I haven't replayed them. And I remember bits and pieces. I don't remember the plotting at all. I thought it'd be good to go back. I didn't have time. I was watching the bonus features for the show before I came here. So, but I do have a pretty decent memory of the beginning and the ending of the first game, at least.
Yeah, because you actually played the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when it came out. So I remember you talking to me about it. I remember that's how I found out about the game.
Yeah. I remember really, really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And now we've gone through 10 years of discourse, and I don't know if my opinions change. I don't know. Obviously, video games have changed a lot since then. A lot of opinions on how video games should be, and whether this sort of video game is not discrediting that it is a game, but like this kind of action cinematic approach to video games has sort of, at least through the communities that I see online, seems to have soiled a little bit.
Yeah, there's certain depreciation of certain AAA games styles.
Yeah, we were saying that we were speaking about this when we were talking about the new GTA, which still isn't out, which is very funny. I hope it never comes out.
Yeah,
how much money goes into these things to make them so crystal clear, perfect, and to sort of take control away from the person and more they're trying to approach more of a movie thing.
That's what I was going to say, because funnily enough, that's one of my biggest criticisms with Rockstar specifically, as someone who loved just fucking around on the GTA games on the PS2. I have played GTA 5, and I tried Red Dead Redemption 2, and I didn't like it, because it felt like a lot of AAA games don't give you any freedom, but they try and make you feel like you've got freedom.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you can do lots of different things, open world, and it's like, that's great. But if you enter a story, it's very rigid. And
That's
even
true.
games I love, like I'm currently playing Ghost of Yotei, and I have played 100%ed Ghost of Tsushima. I love Ghost of Yotei because it's very much a do what you want game. And even then, when you enter one of the necessary story moments, it's very much you're walking down a corridor with a character who doesn't stop speaking. You have to interact with things in a very specific way.
Yeah, that's a very interesting as video games are progressive. This sort of constant battle between the narrative and the gameplay, which has almost been circle jerked to death if you've been in certain online gaming communities.
And the games we spoke about, say Pokemon, last week, that happened with Pokemon as well, where back in the original generations, it was very much there is a story, you do have text, you do read through it, but that was on the back burner. You could just basically go around and play Pokemon at your own pace. Same with, basically, I feel like most genres of games have gone through that evolution of trying to up the story, but at, depending on your opinions, at the expense of the gameplay. And some people like that of gameplay story. To be honest,
I would still argue that some of the gameplay is really fun. I know you don't necessarily like Red Dead Redemption 2. However, I do enjoy it a lot of the time. I think the story's fine. I do enjoy the gameplay quite a bit.
That's good.
With this, even with like extremely story-driven games like The Last of Us, I do really, really like the story. There are gameplay segments that I also really, really enjoy as well.
Yeah. Well, saying that about what I played so far, obviously it's still very early in the game, but just learning the mechanics, just getting the basis of what the game will be. It doesn't seem like my type of game I would enjoy at the current moment, because at the moment I like games where I can pick up and play them. Like, even though I said Ghost of Yotei kind of does force you into some bits with the story, that's only when you choose to interact with it. I can pick it up for 10 minutes, ride around on the horse.
I never want to disregard, like, because I don't want all games to be one thing or the other.
No, absolutely
I think
not.
it's always good to have a good variety of them.
Yeah.
It is interesting, though, to see we're reaching sort of a certain end point with these sort of AAA games, which I feel as though has been a topic that has been going on for decades.
Yeah.
So maybe that we'll never reach an end point, and they'll just keep pumping money into these sort of projects.
Especially with the prices being raised and stuff like that. You know, there's discussions on, I don't think this is true, but people saying, GTA 6 is going to be the first $100 base game.
Yeah.
Just because the amount of money that's gone into it at the production time, and the fact that games, I mean, here they're £70, so they must be $80, $90 in America.
Yeah.
So honestly, I can see that happening,
Yeah.
which I think is crazy, but that's a whole other discussion on the price of games and things like that. But no, I've always culturally known about The Last of Us. It does feel like a very early 2010s game. I think once we talk about Naughty Dog, it's very interesting to see the progression of
definitely
how games changed from the early 2000s to 2010s.
Naughty Dog is like so fascinating.
Yeah, genuinely. So even before we get into that, I think it's interesting to say about how, based on what we've talked about from the shows and games from the 90s, obviously it's a lot of mascot stuff. So we got Mario, we got Sonic, we got Donkey Kong, Pikachu, and
Bubsy.
Even if the ones we haven't covered, we got Bubsy, we got Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, and Crash Bandicoot is obviously relevant because it is Naughty Dog.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking of just where we are in the game's timeline, at the minute it's very cartoony, very platformer heavy.
Yeah.
We're going to be starting with the early stages of 3D gaming, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Should I give you a history on Naughty Dog?
Wait, is this the first 3D game?
The Last of Us?
Yeah.
No, of course it's not the first 3D game.
That we're covering.
Oh, that we're covering. It's like, no, absolutely fucking... Oh, that we're covering.
I know we kind of covered Donkey Kong, which is like...
I mean, yeah, we talked about other games, but obviously Donkey Kong Country is a 2D game.
Yeah.
Sonic Underground was only based on the 2D Sonic games. Adventure was in development.
Yeah.
But this is the only game that is exclusively 3D.
Well, there we go.
All the games we covered have 3D games in the franchise.
Someone who's never played a video game, what the fuck? It's 3D, man!
Whoa. That's really funny. Well, the idea of like the movie equivalent.
Yeah.
Just being showing
Showing
someone.
that train coming towards the screen. Whoa!
It's going right for us. That's such a fucking stupid story.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, obviously it is.
What?
I can imagine they were all like mind blown. Where it's like they thought it was going to come out the wall. Fuck off. That's dumb.
I don't know. Imagine
Maybe they did.
This was like
Who
what,
knows?
the 1800s?
I guess. Maybe so. I don't know. Pictures existed though.
Yeah, I guess, but like it's moving ones. And
That's true. That's true. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. If you were there at the time, write in.
right. Via pen.
Yeah, via pen. Send a letter to this address. So, Naughty Dog, formerly Jam Software, was founded by friends Andy Gavin, Jason Rubin, and Mike Goyette in 1984, with Jam being their initials. Although that was changed to Jason and Andy's Magic when Mike Goyette later dropped out of the company.
To what?
Jason and Andy's Magic. They really wanted to keep the Jam acronym.
Yeah.
Even though I think it's fine if they just say, oh, that's for our friend Mike who used to work here.
We replace you with the and.
No, they got, so Jason, Andy, and Mike were Jam, so JAM. And they changed it to Jason and Andy's Magic, and Mike left. They released games for the Apple systems in the late 80s, and including, in 1989, they released Keef the Thief with EA, and it was after this, in September 1989, when they dissolved Jam and became Naughty Dog.
Where does the name come from? Did you find anything on that?
Naughty Dog? No, actually. Why is it Naughty Dog? No instant explanation, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna project that they have a puppy kink.
Good for them. So in 1994, they produced Way of the Warrior for the 3DO and showed it to Mark Kearney of Universal Interactive Studios, who signed them to make 3 additional games. Do you want to take a guess on what that trilogy of games was?
Were they Crash Bandicoot?
It was Crash Bandicoot. So they planned a 3D platformer that followed a character from behind, and they nicknamed it Sonic's Ass Game.
Cute.
And they ended up making it into Crash Bandicoot in 1996, and it was published by Sony for the PlayStation.
We both played Crash Bandicoot, haven't we?
I love Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, it's
so
great.
Speaking of generally with Naughty Dog, yeah, I love Crash Bandicoot.
Haven't played it. I'm sure you'll bring it up later. You haven't played any of the Jack and Daxter games.
I haven't, no.
I played a bit of 2 and I really enjoyed it.
That's good. Yeah, it's not really my type of game now, but it's something I'd like to try at some point.
The 3D platformers.
Yeah, I've gone off them. I played the Crash Reignited
you love Astro
trilogy.
Boy.
Astro Bot, yeah, I did really like
Astro
Astro Bot, yeah. I played Crash 4 when that came out. I've got to be in a real good mood to play a 3D platformer. One sec. I can't see him from down here. I wasn't sure if I had a Jack and Daxter game.
Oh yeah, that's true. You do have a PS2 collection.
Yeah, I do have quite a few PS2 games that just kind of accumulated. But it's something I could see myself playing in the future. But yeah, I've played all the mainline Crash games. I haven't played all the spin-offs. Crash became one of the best-selling PlayStation games. So Naughty Dog made 2 more, and then also a spin-off racing game. In 2001, Sony bought Naughty Dog, with their first game under Sony's ownership being Jack and Daxter.
There you go.
Like you just said. And around the development of the later Jack and Daxter games, both Rubin and Gavin began to move away from Naughty Dog, and Evan Wells and Stephen White became the co-presidents. So the original guys who formed it just aren't there anymore.
Bye.
So bye. Won't mention them again.
God, imagine just seeing where it goes later on.
Just like, fuck, we should have stayed.
Shit. Oh, well.
2004, during the development of Jak and Daxter 3, a man called Neil Druckmann joined Naughty Dog. Remember that name for a bit. That was like 2 seconds. 2007, big change for Naughty Dog now. They released a new game, very different to Crash and Jak and Daxter. Do you want to take a stab at what game it was?
Uncharted.
It was Uncharted. Well done. Uncharted released, and it was a big change from Naughty Dog's previous cartoonish franchises to a lot more grounded, story-driven narrative games. Have you played the Uncharted
I played all
games?
of them.
Yeah, I've played all of them as well.
What do you think of them?
I think they're good. I don't really think they're my sort of thing, like we just said about in terms
That's
of the
crazy
story
to play
things.
them all and then just kind of be like, eh.
When I got a PS4, it came with the trilogy,
Yeah.
so it was just kind of a might as well thing.
That's fair.
You
I think
know?
it hit me at the correct time. I think I was like quite... It was when 2, not long after 2 came out, but before 3. So I was like 14, 15. And that was a great time to have it. I really enjoyed 2 specifically. I thought 2 was great.
I remember most about 2.
Yeah.
I do remember some of 3. I just kind of, to be honest, it's one of those games where I feel like I didn't give it the attention it deserves. I played them all back to back. It kind of all just blurs into one.
No, I can understand someone not gelling with it, especially if you don't like the writing that much, if you don't like that sort of quippy shtick.
And I think that I when I was a bit younger, I was very much in all forms of media, games, books, shows, a lot more afraid of giving up on it. I felt it was just kind of like, I don't know, disrespectful and, what if I actually do end up liking it?
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm older and I'm just more limited on time.
You're throwing books out the windows every day.
Read one page, don't fucking like it.
Nope.
I'm not that
It sucks with the other pod. When Mr. Harrigan's phone? No, thank you.
It.
Bye. It, was.
I can't stand this one. Yeah, I've got to remember that for next time.
Shit.
Yeah, it's I have appreciation for them, but also it's funny, we talked about how gaming has changed. I'm not saying Uncharted was the one that kind of kickstarted the cinematic film style of games, but it definitely was one of the early predecessors.
It was a big contributor.
Yeah, especially Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
Like, everyone knows that opening sequence with the train.
Yeah, that's
climbing
true.
up. Yeah. So, Uncharted, it was pretty much you go.
No, just sorry about it. It was just funny. Every single time a new Naughty Dog game came out, and every review was like, it's like a movie. It's like a motion picture. The Naughty Dog is really stepping up into creating a cinematic world.
It kind of becomes full circle with the fact, and we'll talk about this later, of how this gets made into a show. But then you also have games which are basically play-along movies, like Until Dawn, which also famously has a film version which isn't even a film of Until Dawn or whatever. It's just like, it's an Ouroboros of this game is trying to be more like a movie. Well, it's like that with this game adaptations we talked about with Mario and Sonic as well, of a lot of movies. I'm never going to be one of those people who's, there's no original movies, but a lot of stuff is based on IPs.
That's true.
So it is the natural progression of, let's adapt this thing that's basically a movie already.
Yeah.
And it's amazing in that regard how many fuck it up, considering.
Yeah. I'll talk more about this maybe at the beginning or near the end of when we talk about the actual show.
Yeah.
But I love to talk about like the adapting process and how different it is now.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, we'll talk about that, but we're almost there. So, 2011, during Spike TV Video Game Awards, The Last of Us was revealed, with game director Bruce Straley and creative director Neil Druckmann leading development, with the writers being Neil Druckmann, designs by Jacob Minkoff, programmed by Travis McIntosh and Jason Gregory, with music composed by Gustavo Santaolalla, and art by Eric Pangolin and Nate Wells. I just wanted to shout out all the names of the people who worked on this. Obviously, hundreds of more people would have worked on this.
Yeah, all those people that got crunched.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention like the main people, because later on, people are going to act like only one dude made this game. So I wanted to shout out some of the people who were in the credits.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Last of Us was released for the PlayStation 3 on June 14th, so almost the anniversary of the release of this episode.
Crazy.
2013, to critical acclaim. It was re-released for PS4, remastered for PS5, and has a sequel, Last of Us Part 2. And I believe there is a third game planned, or at least there was.
Maybe. We'll see that in like 20 years.
I believe I want to see it.
Yeah.
I said this to someone yesterday who just said, they're making this thing. It's like, I'll believe it when I see it.
I don't hold that. If I hear just like, they've announced this, it's like, I'm not believing anything until it's right in front of me.
They've just copyrighted it just in case they one day want to make it. Yeah. There are also spin-off comics by Dark Horse. There's a board game, a tabletop game. And in 2025, there was an immersive experience announced. So that sounds fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be like one of those Saw experiences where they just have zombies in cages going,
yeah, that'd be very freaky, actually.
Yeah.
To be fair, I love watching videos of people in America, especially going through the haunted houses where it's just killer chases. Because a lot of them, it's just like Scooby-Doo rules. You run into a room and then just comedically run between doors.
Yeah.
I think they're very charming.
They can't touch you or,
exactly.
or anything.
So you don't have a reason to actually be scared. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of goofing around.
Yeah, so once you unlock that part of your brain, you can just kind of fuck with them.
Yeah, it's like it can be scary. I've done fucking horror walkthroughs
I could never do those. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you can break through that part where it's just, I'm completely safe, it can just be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But even I'm a wimp with regards to that. So Of course, we're going to talk about the series, but there was actually, in March 2014, a film announced. So Sony announced Screen Gems would distribute a film adaptation written by Neil Druckmann and produced by Sam Raimi.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would have been interesting. Not directed by Sam Raimi.
Yeah, that man produces a lot.
Yeah, produced by Sam Raimi. Druckmann said he got to a second draft by January 2015, and there was a table read with some actors. By 2016, it was in development hell, and Raimi said that there were disagreements between Sony and Druckmann. Druckmann himself said that he wanted his film to be closer to a small indie film style, and the studio wanted like big set pieces.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's admirable to try and go for a more low budget thing, but I don't necessarily see how you could do that given the special effects required and how much of the scenery seems to be a big character.
Random comparison. Obviously, not Osgood Perkins. Fucking Weapons and Barbarian.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
He is obviously doing the new Resident Evil film, which is very different, and that sounds more, not low budget, but more interpersonal, small scale.
Yeah. It's not the Resi
exactly,
movies.
But obviously
Paul Anderson.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Paul Thomas Anderson. Which one is it? Paul W.
Anderson?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to wind me up if I don't remember his name, but it doesn't matter. So, but this is years after the fact of so much zombie media, which, what I'm talking about the film, maybe when we go onto the show, we should also just talk about zombie media in general.
Yeah. Not even the first zombie thing we covered in this thing.
No, it's not. Yeah, so we can talk about that. But yeah, by 2016, development hell, there was the disagreements, but they were in talks with cast, and do you want to, I mean, you can take a guess as to who do you think was going to play Ellie? Give you a hint. They're also in Game of Thrones, just like Bella Ramsey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's her name?
I feel like you're thinking of her.
The little Stark kid.
Yeah, Maisie Williams.
Yeah.
I think that's good casting.
Yeah, I think that would have worked.
Yeah.
Especially during that period.
Yeah, especially. But nothing came of it. There isn't a film.
Did they ever cast Joel?
I didn't see any confirmed names for Joel, so.
Okay.
Seemed like that was just set. Like the table read wasn't the actors themselves.
Okay.
It was just kind of stand-ins.
Oh, okay.
So, but now we're jumping all the way to March 2020. Great month.
Did the pandemic actually just inspire everyone? Just like, let's do it.
It kind of framed my reference when I was watching it. The intro of the show.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So March 2020, a TV adaptation of the game was in the planning stages at HBO, and it was formally greenlit at November 2020. I'm sure it would have been greenlit sooner if it wasn't for COVID, but who's to say? It was Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin writing the show, and they also executive produced the series, with both directing episodes, and most of season 1 was written by Craig Mazin. I think it was one episode in its whole was written by Neil Druckmann. Mm-hmm. So Craig Mazin did most of the writing.
Are you going to talk about his career? Because he worked on Chernobyl.
Did he? That's him.
Yeah, and he worked on the scary movies.
Really?
Yes.
That's very interesting.
He also did superhero movie. But this was like, then he shifted to Chernobyl, and then this. So he's switched entirely to awards bait.
Award bait. Let me double check something.
Yeah, please triple check me.
Yeah, so Scary Movie 3 and 4, superhero movie, wrote, directed, and produced, hangover movies. There we go. This is one I would check because I heard about. The Chernobyl guy made this movie. Second best film of this year, The Sheep Detectives.
Yeah,
he wrote that, which is a genuinely fantastic film.
There you go.
If you haven't seen Sheep Detectives, I know because I felt like this. Everyone was gassing it up and thinking, how good could it be? No, it is that good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Craig Mazin, very acclaimed writer.
Yeah.
Of screen.
What a pivot.
Yeah. Casting took place over Zoom because of COVID. The casting director was Victoria Thomas, and she wanted to honour the game without being limited by it. Now, obviously, two quite big names. Bella Ramsey, we've already mentioned as Ellie. Bigger name since The Last of Us, but had been in Game of Thrones before.
Yeah.
So this wasn't their first role. Also, we do want to just acknowledge up front that Bella Ramsey is non-binary, as far as we can understand. They said that they don't mind really what pronouns people use. If anything, she doesn't really want people making a big fuss out of it. But just in terms of transparency, when we talk about Ellie as a character, we'll use she, her. And when we talk about Bella as a person, we'll use whatever pronouns that feel appropriate, because that's how they like it.
Cool.
Yeah. And then we got Pedro Pascal, who's a man. Pedro Pascal's pronouns are he, him, because he's him.
He's him.
He's him. Everyone loves Pedro Pascal.
Unless you don't, in which case you hate him with
case,
all your guts.
I like Pedro Pascal.
I like his performances quite a lot.
Yes, I can't think of many things I've seen him in where I have not liked him.
He's in Grogu right now. Well, I hope he isn't in Grogu. He's in The Mandalorian in Grogu. No!
Yeah, they fucking really want you to know that he's in Grogu. Every time I watch that trailer, and this isn't a call out, I just think this is funny. Every time we watch that, Garrett says to me, "Oh, you wouldn't think that a Mandalorian has to keep his helmet on because of the amount Pedro Pascal's face is shown." Because to be fair, I think in the first season they stuck to the helmet maybe until right at the end.
Yeah, they committed to that gimmick, and now they got to remind you that we paid a lot of money for Pedro to be in this.
Exactly.
But I really like his career. I think he does really good performances.
Especially in the last year. I know everyone kind of shat on the whole thing of, Pedro Pascal's in everything now, but I liked him in Eddington. I thought he was good as Mr. Fantastic. Materialists, really good in.
Yeah, he has a good range. He has a good range of lower movies and big budget ones.
Yes. And considering what we're going to be talking about later in terms of queerness on this show, we've already mentioned one of the actors being non-binary.
Yeah.
It's very relevant, especially at the minute. And especially in terms of when we talk later about online rage bait and anger, Pedro Pascal's very relevant. Because unfortunately, he's also at the whims of that. But
this show's just a lightning rod for people who hate certain celebrities.
Yeah, I'll say this now. If you are interested in all the controversy and all the surrounding stuff about basically the cultural impact of The Last of Us, we are going to talk about it, but we're going to talk about the show and episode first.
Yeah.
So stick around if you want to hear that, but obviously we want to cover the production and the actual episode 1 first. But Sina Sarita is the lead director of photography. The score is also composed by Gustavo Santaella, as the same composer as the game, and David Fleming.
I do think he's great, the composer.
I think I know the opening, like the music of this.
Yeah, it's great.
It's iconic, yeah. Gustavo Santaella also worked on the game music and theme, like we said. What did you think of this episode of
I didn't actually
television?
write that many notes watching this. This isn't the first time I've seen this episode.
Oh yeah, we should establish that. So I've seen the whole of season 1.
Yeah.
I watched it when
I
it aired.
forgot about that.
Yeah. I liked it, but weirdly it was kind of one of those things where, and I'll talk more about this later, there's episodes that were universally considered weaker because they were different from the show, and the ones I liked.
I was going to bring this up.
Yeah.
What I think I'm more interested in is the stuff where it pivots away from the stuff already established. And it seems like everyone else dislikes that.
Yeah.
Our opinions don't tend to sort of align with, I guess, general perception.
Well, what I like, and I might not have talked about this, but this is the same thing I was put off with The Walking Dead. I like apocalypse stories, and I love these settings, especially this style of sort of retrofuturism and wild nature growing back over buildings.
Yeah.
I love the aesthetics of it all, but I like personal stories. Being entirely honest, I couldn't give less of a shit about the zombies or the clickers or anything like that. So yeah, my favorite episodes of the show are, I wrote down the names of them.
The gay episode.
It's the gay episode with Nick Offerman. I think it's called Long Time.
Yeah.
Whereby is it? I want to get the names right.
I didn't get to see the actual episode, but they did bring it up quite a bit in behind the scenes, so they're obviously they put a lot of effort into that one.
Yeah.
Before I saw this show, before I came out, I had no interest in this. I thought it was just gonna be another pumped out onto TV streaming show. But then I saw, it's the first episode is actually really good. So I watched it at a train station, and I only got up to as far as what's the daughter's name? Sarah's death, and I was just like, yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah. And then I stopped because I had to catch a train, and then I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
Fair.
So this is my first time finishing the actual entire episode.
Yeah.
Kind of mixed. Due to a numerous reasons, I think what it does, it executes pretty well. However, it is in the shadow of the game, and it gives me an uncanniness to this whole experience.
I've obviously got.
I'm quite interested in your perspective, considering this is going to be the reverse for you.
That's what I was just about to say. I've obviously got the unique perspective of, even though I've always known about the game's story, I've not seen the game. It's not like I watched the gameplay when I was younger.
Yeah.
It's truly just a matter of, I know that his daughter dies. I know that Ellie is infected, but not, but is immune, and so on. So yeah, I loved the first half of this. All the stuff leading up to Sarah's death, I thought was brilliant.
I thought it was great.
I thought that was really good. And then it kind of took not a nosedive in terms of dramatic drop in quality.
This is a very long episode. It's basically a movie.
It's like
80 minutes?
80 minutes, yeah. But I just felt like then it really did feel like setup. And it's hard to criticize episode 1 of being set up, especially because, when we talk about...
I disagree. I feel as though we've been doing this now for a number of episodes to know... Like, obviously, you need to have setup.
Yeah.
But if it's able to weave it in such a natural way where you don't feel it, that's when you know you have something special.
That's fair. The only counter I'll give to that is, I guess, when we cover pilot episodes specifically, you can tell they're trying to tell, basically, of what this show is going to be because it hasn't been produced. But obviously, this is one of those cases where the season was produced as a whole. Mm-hmm. So they kind of trusted... the whole, in my opinion, probably, even though I think it's still aired weekly, the binge model of people would just keep watching.
Yeah.
But then I also do agree with you that I feel like my problem with the back half of the episode is stuff is only there to be set up. So, for example, the way they talk about Ellie, you don't get the reveal, even as the audience, that she's infected / immune until basically when Joel and Tess do right at the end. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really awkward. Because I know, because I've through osmosis, that Ellie is immune, and that's the whole plot of the series. And obviously, not everyone watching will know, so they wanted to leave it a surprise. But I'm just thinking, I can't remember the woman's name who's with Ellie, begins with an M. Marlene?
Marlene?
Yeah, Marlene knows. Yeah. Ellie knows.
Same actress from the game.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marlene and Ellie both know. But yet, when they're in a room together talking about it, they're not saying it. It's nitpicks like that.
No, it feels quite clumsy.
Yeah.
I hate when characters can't speak naturally because they got to conceal information and it's quite obvious.
Yeah, that's
it creates very clunky dialogue.
Yeah, I don't mind it as much later on when they're with Joel, but even then, having now played the game, there's bits of the game where I think the show does better. I think the Sarah sequence, just it being longer...
In the video game now.
Yeah, I think the Sarah sequence in the show is better.
Really?
Because you get a lot more of Sarah, and you really get that time. Like in the game, it's great. You get that emotion, but it's literally just you get one scene, she goes to sleep, then the apocalypse starts.
That's true.
Whereas in the show, you see basically a slow start.
Yeah, you also get the benefit of the game of actually being the character. You play as
play as Sarah, yeah.
You start from her perspective, so you do have this sort of natural empathy towards their actions because obviously you're controlling them.
Yeah.
So you're able to like cut that. I really like the introduction, especially when shit goes down and they're able to like really go quite extravagant. I thought that was handled pretty well, especially on a TV budget. Like with the plane crashing, the zombie stuff. I thought it looked great. A part of me, it feels a bit mixed about expanding all of that.
Yeah.
Because obviously going into it, I understand what they're going for, like what beats they got to hit at certain points.
Yeah.
So often I was watching this, I was thinking like, yes, this does expand a lot of Sarah's character, so you can feel more empathetic, and it does work. I did genuinely cry watching.
I
that
cried
scene. I thought the performances were wonderful up to that point, but a lot of it, I felt it's cool spending a lot of time with this character, but it did feel not unnecessary. But
do you feel, because we are very media savvy, we just consume a lot of media. And random example, we watched the leaked Avatar movie recently. Yeah. Avatar Last Airbender movie.
Paramount's going to kill us.
There's no way to legally watch it, so, you know. And we're not going to spoil it if you haven't watched it, fair enough. But there was stuff that was happening, and straight away we were like, oh, well, we know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you think... Because we said about how they're keeping information secret for the sake of the audience and it's clumsy.
Yeah.
Did you get the vibe where, oh, we're only seeing this stuff to make Sarah's death feel impactful? Or do you think they handled it in a way where someone who is watching for the first time wouldn't be able to guess? Because sometimes you see a character in a film and they're so fucking glowing and everyone loves them and you're just like, this fucker's gonna die in 10 minutes.
The nature of storytelling is that it is purposefully manipulative.
Yeah.
The magic of it is not realizing it's occurring.
Yeah, because, for example, we like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
How many fucking times has a Doctor Who episode been like, you should come with me in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I love you.
Shit, man, I got a target on your back now.
We joked last fucking year when we was watching the last season of Doctor Who, a character straight up is like, I'm going to go travelling with him. And then we're like, oh, they're dead. And genuinely, a minute later.
Yeah.
So, it's the nature of the medium.
Yeah. A counter criticism a ton of people always say, it's just like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen. You need these things to have that emotion. And clearly it worked. I felt...
Yeah, that's the thing. We both knew that Sarah was going to die.
I cried at the original one.
Yeah.
As well. I just... Seeing it done so succinctly, I feel.
Yeah.
And then seeing like, oh, now we have the time. We could, I guess, have a little bit more time with Joel and Sarah. This is like their full day. This is what she did beforehand. I can understand that because I feel as though if it did the like a literal 1-for-1, a lot of people say this is just a 1-for-1 of the game. It isn't. They have changed certain things. They have expanded on them.
Yeah.
But if they did it like that, it would be like 20 minutes.
Exactly. And the thing is, for example, you're saying about they have expanded on things, they have changed things. We've got stuff like we see Sarah go get the watch fixed, which means later when they say the line of, we're not infected, it's only people in the city, you get that small moment of her, like you can see on her face, well, she was in the city, so she's thinking about it. And you get to see her interacting with her neighbours. And yeah, it does do what you could argue is cliches in terms of horror, but I'm a sucker for like background shit and like anything going on.
I'm in two minds of the whole zombie apocalypse thing. I think it's the lingering effects of Shaun of the Dead of showing an apocalypse happening in the background. I feel it's always cool and fun, but when they're hitting on certain cliches, like the woman running out being like, we have to close, you have to go home, and they're not expanding on it, it's like, this is giving Shaun of the Dead
That's
a little
completely
bit.
fair.
It's bordering on like leaning on a lot of cliches that have been with this genre for so long.
That's fair. I think that the game does that well in terms of the fact that then Sarah is asleep, so you've got that plausible deniability. I will say, one thing I did like is the small detail when you see her in school, the flickering hand, when like the hand's twitching and stuff.
Yeah.
I really like that little detail because I feel as though the clickers, we didn't really get to see them much this episode.
No.
But they are very unique in terms of zombies.
Yeah. I really like this fungal infected zombie. It's quite different from
it's very unique, and considering zombie media is
I really
arguably,
like the designs. They go into like quite a lot of detail in the behind the scenes stuff on how they do it, and it's like a mix of VFX and practical makeup, and the makeup stuff they do in there looks phenomenal.
Genuinely, I was impressed of how much, I mean, we both said of how much of this show is practical.
Yeah.
Including the giraffe that's not in this episode.
Fuck me. I was watching okay, so there's a bit in the behind the scenes where they're discussing about the giraffe. They got an actual giraffe. Not in a million years, if I saw this on a screen, I would think that is a real giraffe. I don't know how they made a real giraffe look so fake.
I think it's the fucking bloom on it.
It's the bloom. It's because they basically converted the giraffe into a blue screen thing so they could put them in. And maybe it's because the blue is reflecting onto the giraffe itself. Yeah. And it makes it look so uncanny. But I was thinking, God, you spent so much money. You might as well have used a fucking CGI giraffe. Yeah. But anyway, that's beside the point. That is a future episode.
Not this episode. But no, they really focused on getting practicality in with this.
Yeah.
I will say that's kind of one of the disappointing things of this episode because it is so early stages of the apocalypse, and you don't really get to see the zombies. The zombies, the clickers.
I like seeing certain clips later on. I know we're just supposed to be talking about the pilot episode, but with the behind the scenes stuff, they did show like some of the landscapes, and it does look great.
Yeah, and
because the environment, I feel, is like just as big of a character.
When I think of The Last of Us, I think of the overgrown grass on the buildings.
Yeah, like skyscrapers like collapsed, like leaning on each other with the roots going through them.
Yeah, this term, so it's passive rewilding, which is just basically the fancy term for nature will eventually just naturally take back over again.
Yeah.
And, all buildings, if they were just left, would be overgrown.
Yeah.
And I love the way that looks.
Yeah, it does look really,
So
really
cool.
good.
There's a house not far from one of our friends' houses.
Yeah.
It is very overgrown with ivy and weeds, and I love the way
It's
that
like,
looks.
It's
Yeah,
like beautiful.
I know it's destroying the structure, but it looks so
I don't
good.
care.
I don't care. Yeah.
But again, going to the game where they have 100% control, more or less,
Yeah.
they have to build it from the ground up. And then seeing it pulled, having that weird, uncanny vibe of, I've seen this before,
Yeah.
but now it's Pedro Pascal's in it,
Yeah.
and he's Joel, I guess.
Yeah.
And his performance is great. I think he pulls it off really, really
Yeah.
well. I do think he does his own thing. He's not doing one for one like the Troy Baker.
Yeah, I feel the same about Bella Ramsey.
Yeah. They're not one for one, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think
I think
that's
that would
a
be
good
really
decision.
annoying if they were trying to do the exact same thing.
I agree.
But it's skirting on being so close. Where
Yeah.
I'm feeling like this is feels so weird, and especially later on, like after the apocalypse now, and it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
And they have these like great sets, I feel, but I always have this feeling of, yeah, it feels just a bit too clean. I think the characters should look. It's the TV effect. Maybe it should have been shot on film. Obviously, you can't expect that for like TV
Yeah.
shows that is expensive. It needs a bit more grit.
I understand. It's designed dirty rather than naturally looks dirty.
It's quite a difficult. But I feel as though they captured that really well in, say, The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
There's a
that's
natural grime and disgust and decay that feels lived in, which
Yeah.
is very hard to duplicate, but they did it very well in that instance.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, there's always like muck on the characters. It's very clear that although they live in a built-in society,
Yeah.
they have institutions that still run, that they're barely scraping by,
Yeah,
that I felt was conveyed better within the game.
that's completely fair. I think that's very interesting to compare, especially thinking of things that come later in the show. I think it's interesting to discuss the one-for-oneness to adaptations, because I think that's something adaptations always struggle with.
Yeah.
Of just how close do you make it? And in this case, it could be that they made it so they could have made it one for one because it is basically a playable movie.
Yeah.
That they have to make some things different because otherwise,
Yeah.
this is my argument with adaptations as a whole. Essentially, what's the point? And the end goal is usually just money.
I want to
But,
say, I think
yeah.
that's dumb. I
That's
think
fair.
adaptation has just always existed within
Yeah.
all mediums.
Yeah.
And because you can't perfectly replicate them, that's
No,
just
that's fair.
impossible. It's interesting now with video games that are pulled so heavily
Yeah.
from film language.
Yeah.
Like they use the same cutting. They're getting so realistic at rendering reality.
Yeah, they might as well just be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the only difference being now is the controllable aspects of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. But that's what I mean in terms of the only thing if the only thing separating it is the fact that one you play and one you don't, what's the point of making a movie of Until Dawn where it's basically a movie
Yeah.
anyway?
They did discuss this in behind the scenes.
Yeah, they did, to
They
be
said
fair.
Neil Druckmann said that there will be people who don't play the game, and this is for them, basically.
Yeah, and that's completely fair because I didn't play the game and I watched it, so
Yeah.
I can completely understand that. It's I don't know, maybe granted this is a very recent
that's
show.
an interesting? I feel as though that's an interesting reason though to adapt.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the monetary reason.
Yeah, which they're never gonna say.
But yeah, they're never
Yeah.
gonna like come forward and say that. But I do think it's like quite interesting. Do you think that's? It's not wanting to expand it, although it does do it. It's making it more accessible.
I think it's
Because I think that's just admitting a sort of that TV and film has an accessibility the games just never will.
and I agree with that. I think that some people are kind of against games in general, not because, they hate gaming specifically. It's just because it's not something they'd go into.
Yeah.
And, especially
Especially for like a certain generation onwards.
yeah, definitely.
That are just never gonna. I don't know. Have you ever tried to give a game to, say, your grandparents?
Yeah.
Some of them just not they don't have the capacity, but
No.
it feels like so alien to
Well, it's
them.
like my dad's in his late 60s. If he could watch The Last of Us, he would never. If I said, "Oh, this game's really good, you should play it," he wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
And
Like these
that's the
elements
thing.
that seem so natural to us.
Yeah.
It's a boundary to them. You can say that for like any medium. Like a lot of people aren't going to read a book.
Well, that's another thing I was going to say. That's one of the reasons people say about adapting books. Obviously, books is a bit more of a jump in the medium, but it's true. It does make it more accessible.
Yeah.
I think that movies and television shows are definitely the most accessible medium.
But what kind of scares me about that sort of line of thinking? It almost renders the original almost what's the word?
Obsolete?
Yeah, it renders it almost
Yeah.
obsolete.
Yeah, because I can imagine someone, I mean, I'm not saying this is me, but, I'm also guilty of this, of just saying, oh, well, I've watched the show, so why would I play the game?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's not like a book adaptation of a film, where you'll watch the film and then you'll think, that was really good, I really enjoyed that, I'm going to go back and read the book.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be changes, and the experience will be different anyway, because the mediums are completely different.
I suppose so.
Whereas with this, it is truly a matter of, oh, well, if most of the game is cutscenes and I've seen the show, then why play it other than the gameplay?
Yeah.
And for some people, they don't care about the gameplay. So,
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely think it's an interesting question to ask.
But having now you basically played
this episode.
This episode, how do you feel? Like in terms of like adaptation?
It's funny you said that, because I did say earlier about I liked the expansion with Sarah's stuff. I almost feel the reverse in the second half of the episode.
Yeah.
You get to Ellie surprisingly quick. The gameplay can be slow, especially if you want to be stealthy, but it's not a matter of you see Joel's life in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You get like a setup of a soldier, you get more of the Firefly stuff. In the game, you pretty much just go, like, you're going with Tess to get the car battery, but that's the first you hear about it, of we're getting this battery but they've taken it. And you just go there, and on the way you bump into Marlene and get recruited to take Ellie. It felt like it took ages to get that in the show.
Yeah.
I understand it.
It was a lot of repeating information, I felt.
And I get what they were trying to do with giving Ellie a bit more personality by having her, like, showing her locked up, showing her with Marlene, but also just have it be, they're testing Ellie, obviously, we know, because they want to make sure that the infection isn't getting to her.
Mm-hmm.
But then having Ellie lie about who she is, just to say, oh, I know who you are, oh, you were in the orphanage, and all this. It just felt like they were trying to... It's weird. The Sarah stuff felt expanded because they felt like we could build up more tension and make the emotional payoff even harder.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that with the beginning, at least.
But with the Ellie stuff, it really just felt like personally, where is the natural point to end this episode? Oh, just as the journey is beginning. So just as we find out Ellie is immune and this is the setup of the show, it felt like they're thinking, right, so halfway through the episode, Sarah stuff, and then back half of the episode, Ellie stuff, and this is where the episode is going to end. And they were just it just felt like they were padding time, personally.
A little bit,
I genuinely think this episode could have just been the normal hour long, and they probably wouldn't lose that much.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, no, I can understand that.
Yeah. Because this is definitely the longest thing we've watched for this.
Yeah.
Like, single episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think the closest thing we've watched is probably an hour.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've watched part 1s and 2s, but as a individual...
The longest thing we have watched is the Sonic Underground 3 episode.
It's close. But, pardon me. But yeah, I personally could feel... Basically, when you look at my notes... most of my notes are the first... the opening half of the episode. So some of it's pretty arbitrary stuff, just what's happening, but that just goes to show, if most of my notes are usually, I write down plot beats just to jog my memory, and it felt like the second half of the episode there weren't any. And when I say plot, because this has come up in past episodes and it's a big discussion online and even relevant when discussing the other episodes of The Last of Us, I feel like people misunderstand what plot is, and I know you agree with me on this.
Yeah.
Plot isn't just things happening, getting to a goal. Plot is character and character interactions, and I even felt those weren't really getting anything.
Yeah.
And, the whole thing is, like, we know, as people who just knows the story, we know it's going to end with, like, okay, Joel needs to meet Ellie. And,
yeah, you could throw the argument of, we are quite familiar with the mystery, so we don't have that. We're not asking the same questions as someone who has never seen this before.
Yeah. But that's what I mean in terms of how you can. I feel like you can have the mystery and just have it be less clunky.
Yeah.
You know, I think you maybe the mystery would be a more interesting payoff if you don't get that scene of Marlene and Ellie talking about things without actually saying, okay, so we both know that you're immune now.
Yeah.
Because realistically they would talk about that. But yeah, there's stuff I like though that is unique to the show. Obviously, you learn a bit more about you not a bit more, but Joel's brother is who you meet in the opening segment is missing.
Yeah,
and I like the ending payoff where basically they've got this radio that they communicate to each other with songs from different decades.
Oh yeah, that was a good payoff.
Yeah, with Ellie trying to work it out.
That was great because it expanded on the character dynamic between the two, and like continue the actual plot of where they need to go.
It's a nice simple setup,
and it was a great payoff at the very end
with the music playing that they can't even hear. Exactly, it's simple. Set up, they got the radio. Ellie wants to know what the signals mean, but Joel won't tell her, so she figures it out herself. Shows that she's cunning, that she's not one to take no for an answer. Which same. Let's say about that. Like I think Bella Ramsey's portrayal of Ellie, especially of the little I've seen of Ellie in the game, is a lot more aggressive than I'd say Ellie appears at first in the game. I obviously don't know much more about later character, but I think that works with Bella Ramsey's performance. I don't think the dialogue they give her is necessarily strong.
No, especially at the beginning. It's stupid to call a child juvenile, but it's like an adult writer's idea of what being juvenile is.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. And, I'm biased. I work with children. I know how children swear to sound cool and things like that. And they do, but they don't do it like that.
Yeah.
I just don't think it quite works, but I think Bella Ramsey plays it well.
Yeah.
I think that they're really good in this role.
Yeah. I think especially when they're together.
Yes.
And they're bouncing off each other, they have really good chemistry.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Which is like really, really important for this story.
If Joel and Ellie don't have chemistry, there is no show, essentially. Yeah. I felt the same with Sarah's actress, considering how little, obviously, she's in the show. She's only in the beginning half hour. I felt like...
No, they have a very, like, obviously, Joel is... He's not childish or whatever, but he does rely a lot on her.
Yeah, Sarah
it creates like another dynamic of an extra layer of tragedy, like this sort of concrete element that he's always had is just crumbled.
Yeah, because we never, at least in the first episode and the opening segment of the game, we don't learn what happened to Sarah's mother. So it's just Joel and Sarah.
Yeah.
And you get the sense of Sarah takes care of a lot of things because Joel's always working.
I'm glad they kept the hardcore drug
line
in.
I think that's a really good, funny line.
That's very cute.
Yeah. And yeah, you get the same sense of Ellie. I do think, as a personal criticism, I don't know how you feel, I think the bit at the end where the soldier is going to shoot Ellie and Joel loses it and it flashes back to Sarah, I think that's way too heavy-handed.
That's way too egregious.
I don't like films doing that. And that's like, okay, you've got 20 minutes. You've got 2 hours ago this happened. We're just reminding the audience. That's fine, whatever. I don't like it.
I love it when it's played for comedy.
Yeah. I think it's a very useful tool to play for comedy. But when it does it seriously, because in that moment, okay, fair enough. You want to have Joel lose it, fair enough. Just don't flash back.
That sort of editing just feels very insecure, I feel.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't pay that much attention to the screen, but I don't think you should cater to the person who's not paying that much and is confused constantly. You need to respect the audience's intelligence.
Genuinely. And what's the worst that can happen? Someone would say, oh, why did he lose his shit? And then someone else would just say, yeah, because his fucking daughter died and now another man is pointing a gun at her. And I think it's filmed in a way that's clearly implied with Joel
It's like the exact same framing.
Yeah, exactly. I just think they didn't need the
I don't think we're like media super geniuses or anything.
No, I think
but then we see like certain comments around certain shows and I'm just like, are you fucking idiots?
Yeah, and it's like, to be fair, we watch a lot of media. We host 2 podcasts about 2 different forms of media.
I guess.
But even then, it is just a matter of, this is a single episode. If this was in the last episode of the show and then it flashed back for the first time, fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's like, this happened 30 minutes ago. We're okay. We remember his daughter died. We get it. But I'd
honestly,
say that's...
I can understand wanting to like reference that scene at the end of the episode to sort of hint hammer home that theme and like hint to like that sort of relationship dynamic that they're gonna have.
Yeah,
but it feels too early to have that sort of event occur.
I can understand that. Like you said, I think that having it is not necessary, but makes sense.
Did that happen? Obviously, that character wasn't in the game.
In the game, Ellie does stab a person, and then Tess shoots them.
But they don't have. But Joel doesn't like go ape shit.
I literally played this like an hour ago. It's not like it is in the show. It's not framed that way.
I'm not a big fan of that.
No, I don't hate it. It's just more. It's just too direct a reference to something that happened half an hour ago. Maybe if, and I know I said I think this was too slow paced in the back half, but genuinely, maybe if this was an episode 2 thing, even of just a bit later. But I think that naturally having your audience realize, oh, Ellie is like going to be his surrogate daughter.
Yeah.
Have that naturally become up later as it goes, rather than straight away being like, this is the relationship we want them to have.
We're harking on this one moment a bit much, but...
Yeah, so. But that, if anything, that just speaks to how strong most of the rest of it is.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot to praise in this.
Yeah.
And if this is the worst we could say, then it shows.
Like, formally, I think this is great. I think it's shot well for the most part. Again, I would like a bit more grit to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the show is fucking expensive.
Yeah.
This is like one of the most expensive shows ever.
Yeah,
it's like 10 million an episode.
It's crazy to think.
And I'm glad a lot of it went into, say, the production and having a ton of extras and stuff like that. But I do feel as though just take it a little bit further. Maybe shoot it on film. I know it's not that common. They did it on The Walking Dead, at least in the first season.
Yeah, which is maybe one of the reasons that it does look quite gritty.
Yeah. It's possible. Euphoria is fucking shot on fucking VistaVision.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All that for Euphoria.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first episode of Euphoria. I'm only harking on it for a joke. But yeah, I haven't got many more thoughts on the episode itself, really. I like the way they framed the exposition at the beginning with the fungus stuff.
Yeah.
And I do like saying...
It's giving, what was it? I Am Ligand.
I Am Ligand, yeah. I do also enjoy during that conversation that in terms of praising subtlety, because it is kind of a hard thing to pull off, the discussion of the fungus of, oh, but they couldn't do this. Oh, yeah, the only way they could do this is if the Earth got hotter.
Yeah.
And just, they're not explicitly saying global warming, but, you know, considering the time this was written. And I don't know if that's a thing the game ever confirms.
I don't remember.
No, because obviously it's the same an infection, cordyceps fungus, which is real, a real fungus. There's a Pokemon actually in Gen 1 that's based on cordyceps. Paris and Parasect.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a thing that I think it's like one of the Luxmax's people. It's just like if it cortisol spikes. I kept thinking they were saying that. Is it cortisol?
Cordyceps is the mushroom or fungus or whatever it is.
No, the thing where
cortisol is another thing. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's just like if a man gets scared, his cortisol spikes, and that's unattractive.
Something like that. I don't fucking know. It's dumb.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I like how that was framed, and I do like the 2003-ness of that section. Yeah.
Like the phones, very cool.
Very cool, love that. If anything, I was disappointed in the game when I played it then and Joel had a touchscreen phone. I want his brick back.
Yeah. Was there a 20-year leap?
It wasn't 20 years.
I
can't remember, to be honest.
Honestly, fucking Joel in the show, 20 years through all that, looks pretty good. Just got some grey, got all his hair.
Yeah. I mean, Pedro Pascal. Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
What happens when you're on problem?
No. Any more final thoughts?
No.
Would you ever? Obviously, I can't imagine you would now. But could you imagine watching the rest of this, or do you think it's you just couldn't with knowing the games? I'm
not super interested.
No, because I never got around to watching Series 2 because there was a lot of discussions on the quality of it, and we'll talk about this now, all the fallout and things like that. But when I mean that, I mean people I respect on YouTube who reviewed Series 1 really positively, saying, I don't know what's happened, but it's just not
that's
as good.
basically what I heard as well. So,
so I haven't got around to it.
That did tank my interest.
Yeah. Maybe if Series 3 comes out, because it is in development, and the quality is praised, maybe I'll go back and go through Series 2 again. I could see myself revisiting the standalone gay episode, just out of curiosity to see how that holds up.
I might genuinely just check that out.
Yeah, because I really like that episode. I wanted to discuss that actually very briefly. I looked at the TV charts earlier, and overall Series 1 really fucking positive.
Yeah, this episode had like a 9.1 or something.
Yeah, and it's not even the highest one. I think the highest is 9.3, which is one of the later episodes. The lowest 2 episodes. The lowest one was Left Behind, which is based on the DLC and shows the backstory of Ellie.
Oh, is it because it's gay?
Well, that's the thing. And then the second lowest episode, that's still like a 7, so it's not low. It's just lower.
I mean, considering every other episode, it's a 9 or an 8.
And the other episode, Long Time, which is the bottle episode essentially of the 2 gay guys' story over the time span in an apocalypse. That's the second lowest. And I found it interesting how both of those, a lot of them had, especially Long Time, all 10-star reviews, and the second highest was 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
And I did look through, and yes, you could say I was fishing for these, but obviously I just wanted to see what general people were saying. And I couldn't see anyone actually outright saying anything about how, we don't need this in the show, we don't need the gay guys, we don't need Ellie being a lesbian, even though she's gay in the games. But a lot of it was more just saying, this is boring, this is filler. And it kind of spoke to me about how just the general misunderstanding that I've said before of general audiences on what is plot, of people think of the show.
What a fucking story is.
Yeah, of just the show is about Joel getting Ellie to the Fireflies, and anything that deviates from that just doesn't count. Of like, we don't need to see Ellie's backstory because she's already here. We don't need to see what these guys are doing.
Some of the most fascinating episodes in these sort of shows are where they're able to expand on the themes with certain characters that are completely separate from the main line.
For example, you could say, and I know I'm just referring to them as the gay guys, it's because I truly don't know what the characters are called, but the 2 men in that, they kind of show that you can have a normal life in the apocalypse if you really try and work together. And that kind of frames then Joel's journey of clearly wanting make Ellie a surrogate daughter and having a life with her. You could frame it like that.
And to speak on like part 2, there is so much controversy around this game.
Yeah.
And some definitely warranted. Some obviously pulled out of people's asses.
Yeah.
However, I do think it does touch on themes that such as being queer or any out of the norm still happens regardless of societal circumstances, because this is just how people are.
Yeah.
And I feel as though them tapping into that within the show, I think that's really good.
I think if arguably necessary.
Yeah, because, it's a core crux of what the story is.
Yeah, especially with Ellie's character. And, I did want to discuss The Last of Us 2 briefly, just in the framing of when we talk about Neil Druckmann and people's problems with him. But speaking specifically on the queer stuff, this is a very queer show. Bella, whether you like it or not, whether you even think it should be part of the story or not, behind the scenes it is.
Yeah.
Bella Ramsey is non-binary. Pedro Pascal, we don't know what he is, but we're pretty sure he's not straight.
I'm pretty sure he's bisexual.
Yeah, something like that. I'm pretty sure he's dating a man at the minute.
Yeah.
But either way, we know he's not straight. And to be honest, I personally think that frames a lot of people's problems with him, frankly.
Yeah.
Because, last year, for example, everyone was like, why is he so weird with Vanessa Kirby, bro, she's not gonna fuck you. And it's like, that is a queer man and his token girlfriend.
Yeah.
And who's
and everyone obviously knows that video games have a notoriously terrible fan base.
Yeah. And
obviously this is true of like any medium.
If you are a fan of The Last of Us, we're not saying you have to like Last of Us series or part 2. Absolutely not. We give, frankly, a lot of grace to people who probably don't deserve it. We don't want to generalize. This is in regards to all of these, it's always just a loud minority. It's just the loud ones.
Yeah, I just remember The Last of Us 2. Holy fuck, that was insane.
I did want to briefly talk about that. Obviously, we don't have to get into it loads, but if you don't know,
the pandemic did not
crazy.
help.
No, if you don't know what happened, crazy to think. I remember this happening. The Last of Us 2 plot basically leaked online, and if you don't know, basically spoilers from here on out for The Last of Us and Last of Us.
Thank you for listening.
So
bye.
If you listened just for episode 1, definitely recommend it. Check out either the game or the series, but stop listening now because we know what happened, so we're just going to spoil it essentially. But if you don't care, I'll still explain it, though. So, Last of Us 2 introduces a character called Abby, who kills Joe. She's very muscular. People thought that she was trans because she's a muscular woman, and she kills the main character, so everyone just lost their fucking minds. And truly, that's all. Like, that's pretty much it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
People thought there was a trans character in these games, and they drove them insane.
Many such cases.
Yeah. And it's crazy. But I don't
brainworms.
I don't even think it matters to be like people fanning back of, oh, but Abby's not even trans. I don't even think that was the point anymore.
No.
Because then it was just, oh, but she's too masculine. How is she like that in the fucking Apocalypse? Like, oh my God. It's crazy.
Or like Neil Cuckman.
Oh God, we'll talk about fucking him in a minute. And then, yeah, I genuinely think that this is the major turning point on just when all of this shit started.
Yeah.
At least that's from my perspective, because I remember being in uni, and I'm not going to name names, obviously, but like I remember people in uni I like and saying, like, "Oh, have you seen all the Last of Us 2 stuff?" And me just feeling, "Oh fuck, where's this going?" Like I don't. How many people am I gonna have to just stop talking to because they're gonna be on the fucking wrong side of this?
I know.
You know, of just, oh, well, you know, I haven't played the game yet because it's not out, but they don't really need that in there, do they? And like that sort of skirting around it.
Yeah.
Just say how you really feel. But yeah, but saying that, I do think it's also important to mention, and granted, who knows what will happen with this?
Yeah.
But there is an actual trans character in the game. But then on the flip side, they recently announced the casting for that trans character.
Yeah, they cast a cis woman
as a trans man character. Now, granted, it's as far as I know, I don't know how much they filmed, so who knows if that decision will change or if there's a particular reason behind it. You know, maybe they're making it earlier in their journey and whatever. I don't know. Like I said, we try and give people grace, but overall, it's not a good look. As simple as that. There are. And it's not even a matter of, oh, there's no trans male actors. Like, I can think of trans male actors that could have played it. Yeah, there is. There's even, like, I can think of ones even fucking out of films, like the boy from The Long Walk, the guy from Evil Dead Rise. Like, there are young trans male actors who could have played that role.
Just didn't clock them.
There's people listening now who are just like, wait, who?
Wait, what? We just have an X-ray. I'm kidding.
I feel awful when I clock people.
No.
I don't feel like I should be able to.
No, we never do.
But yeah, I will never fucking say it. I just don't know it. You know, I'm never going up like, hey, I couldn't help but notice you're trans.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, just you
get clocked with someone.
I'm just way too hype about it.
It's like, yo, dude!
I love trans people. Thing is,
you do that to a cis guy. Hey, dude! Oh,
I support you on your journey. I feel not to make this about me, the cis person.
It's about me.
It does feel crazy though, and I'm just like, how do I show that I'm an ally, and without sounding insane? Because I can't just be like, oh yeah, I've got loads of trans friends, without it sounding crazy. Even though it's crazy. True, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, my best friend is trans. It's like
it's me trying to subtly, whenever I meet a new group of people and I vibe with them, and I would like to let them know that
soft launching coming out to them. Reminds me of it's like fucking Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who. Of just dropping in like, oh, back when I was a man. Just out of nowhere. But not acknowledging it.
That's what I should do.
Yeah, not acknowledging it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, brainworms, not really much more to say about that. But I do think that it started a domino effect. And granted, I don't know, maybe people hated fucking Neil Druckmann before this. But I knew
he was a controversial figure even before this.
Yeah.
Definitely for certain reasons.
Which ones?
The Israel-Palestine stuff.
Okay, well, let's talk about that next then, yeah. So, yeah, so in terms of the Israel-Palestine stuff, Neil Druckmann himself, he was born in Israel and raised there.
A lot of people read Last of Us as an allegory.
Well, yeah, and I understand why now. So, apparently, some different things that Neil Druckmann has said, and granted, take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
All of these articles frame things in certain ways, and I have actually seen people in my research saying on Reddit about how a lot of these quotes that I'm going to be discussing are taken in bad faith.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, we try and give people grace, but we can only go off what we know.
Even if it's not necessarily warranted, we just gotta try.
We've got to try, because otherwise
we're just going to be angry.
Fucking miserable and angry, and I know that might be fun to listen to, but it's not fun for us.
Yeah.
So, for example, Joel saving Ellie is a direct reference to the 2011 exchange By Joel saving Ellie, I mean saving her at the end of the game.
Yeah.
From being sacrificed, essentially. The 2011 exchange of the Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, for 1,027 prisoners. So it's just that idea of giving one life to save many.
Yeah.
Which, yes. I'll say the other ones first.
There's no definitive proof. He's never come out and said anything that, like, yes, this is an allegory for this.
What he has said, and this is similar in the next one now, of Ellie's arc in part 2, which is a revenge arc of getting back to Abby, is inspired by when he was a teenager, Druckmann saw a video of Israeli soldiers being lynched in the West Bank, and he remembers thinking of being so vitriolically angry and thinking, like, I wish those, like, the people who did that would just die.
Yeah.
Which obviously... He was a teenager, and he said that part 2 is inspired by him reflecting on that anger and wanting to explore a game where essentially you make the player furious at a character and then force you to try and empathize with them.
That's fascinating.
Which is exactly what happens in Last of Us Part 2.
How much do you know about, like, the actual, like, story trajectory?
I know pretty much only that Abby kills Ellie. And Abby kills Joel, and up to that point you only play as Ellie.
Yeah.
And then after she kills Joel, you play as Abby.
Well, yeah, there's like a little bit more between them, so you're basically hunting down Abby for about half the game. And then at the point where there's a confrontation, like then it switches. You basically play Abby's life then up until that point. You get all the context, more or less. And that makes people go insane.
Yeah. A lot of people, and I feel like this, I'm going to generalize now, but obviously always take this. We're not actually saying everyone, but people often struggle to see things not in black and white. And I feel the same way about this with the 1-star and 10-star reviews of those episodes. I'm not saying that both of those episodes we discussed earlier are 10 stars, but I don't think they're fucking 1 stars. Sometimes things can be a bit of mixed. And it's like that with the whole thing with characters as well. I'm not saying you have to like Abby.
No.
That's not what Neil Druckmann is saying. It's just a matter of trying to engage and empathize with someone that has been specifically framed as the villain.
Yeah.
It's specific that. It's not I can't believe he's trying to make me care about this character when she just killed Joel. That's the point.
Yeah.
The entire point is you are angry. The game is designed to make you angry and then have you question that anger. And I can understand the general criticisms of, say, I think at the end Ellie doesn't kill Abby, does she?
No.
And, but Ellie kills loads of people, so really it doesn't make sense that she wouldn't kill Abby. I can understand that as a criticism,
well, no, given the context of what was happening to Abby and who she was caring for.
Yeah.
Because
it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. But
also the people that kidnapped her and the people that she killed on the way there were like literal like cannibals.
Oh, okay. Then. So it's like it's framed in a way you can understand it. Yeah, and in terms of the whole Israel stuff, Palestine stuff, just to speak on Neil Druckmann's politics in general, he's a big proponent of voting. He very much encourages people to vote. I don't know who for. I feel like I know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to, I guess, outright say.
Yeah.
Because I might be wrong. But he's donated to charities lots of times before. He donated to the NARAL Pro-Choice America charity, which is that fights for reproductive rights for women in America. In terms of Israel and Palestine specifically, he donated to the both Israeli and Palestinian emergency response teams in October 2023 and signed the No Hostage Left Behind open letter to Joe Biden, which was basically a bunch of people, celebrities, people in higher power, as you can kind of understand what I mean. A letter to the president to say, we need to really push for the hostages that were taken by Hamas, obviously in the fucking a year and a half since things have changed, but to be released. And he did openly say he wants Israelis and Palestinians to live side by side in peace. Look, we've talked about Israel Palestine a surprising amount in the very early days of this episode, because that's obviously been very fucking topical for the last year and a half.
Yeah,
even though
there has since been an ethnic cleansing that has happened.
I think many opinions have changed since.
Yes,
I will again, whether we should give grace or not, who's to say? But a lot of people at the time, I can think of a lot of people that are well liked who took frankly centrist points of views
at this particular turning point.
Yeah, in specifically October 2023.
Yeah, which turned a lot of people's grace quite vitriolic.
Yes,
understandably so. There was a lot happening.
Yeah,
and I just want to say we are very pro-Palestine.
Yeah, if this is your first episode listening to us, we are very pro-Palestine. It has come up in episodes in the past.
Yes, we are not.
No, there's no
There's no excuse.
No, what has happened is a genuine tragedy, and seeing the way the media has framed it, both the American media, the British media, is just insane, frankly.
Yeah, it is driving us insane.
Yeah, we talked about it very recently, actually. Just how media frames things just in our own personal life, because we find it interesting. But that was one of the main examples that we brought up of just, Israel, I can't go into the specific wordings off the top of my head, but it's very much, say, for example, of, Israeli children murdered brutally versus Palestinians killed or died. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about framing. If you are one of those people who's still on the fence, which frankly is wild, but I definitely think, you got to think of how the media frames it.
Yeah.
Really,
think of the specific wording.
You really got to question everything. And I know I know it's a lot of work, and I know it's depressing.
It's horrible.
It is fucking horrible. I can understand why people
honestly, I can honestly understand why a lot of people would be so I don't want to use the word triggered.
Emotional.
Yeah. Around anyone who's just borderline on the fence.
Yeah.
I back then or something. They're just how could you ever be okay with this? And yeah, I can understand.
Because we at this straight away. I mean, granted, it was very much at the time where I didn't fully understand it, but I immediately looked into it because I'm in a position where I can look into it and educate myself. Because that's not this isn't as a gloat or to put other people down, but that is a skill that not everyone has.
Yeah,
we're lucky. We studied media in school. The way our English system works in school is very much about analyzing text, and we were lucky that we had a really good teacher who taught us how to do that.
Yeah,
and I mean a literal sense of an educator whose job was to
we didn't just learn everything from YouTube.
No, we were lucky that we had genuinely some good teachers in our school.
Yeah. It's weird to think if just we had a different teacher or we went to a different school, how different we would be at interpreting all the information around us.
I'll censor her name obviously, but I genuinely think drastically impacted us in general.
Genuinely.
The massive impact that she had on us, and fucking who knows if she is listening. Thank you, because I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
I love the way that we are able to engage in things, but not everyone is. And, especially think of America, all I know about the American education system is bad.
Yeah.
So, it's not an excuse. Well, it is an excuse, but it's an explanation more than anything. It shouldn't be an excuse, but you've got to frame it in that way.
Yeah.
And being honest, going for more of a graceful route now.
Maybe I'll see a tweet in a couple of weeks about Neil Druckmann pulled a gun on a Palestinian child.
Times change. Fucking
more information comes out.
And this isn't me saying, I love Neil Druckmann. It is me frankly saying, I don't know this man.
I don't know this man. All we have available to us is what we have found in this short period of time doing research for this.
And this is the thing where I think this is what makes it more complicated now. Well, I'll say this first. Again, we mentioned Neil Druckmann is Israeli. He's from Israel. And it wasn't just he was born there. He was raised there for the first 10 years of his life. And people always frame that as part of the reasons they consider him more Zionist, which, of course, opens a whole other bag of worms. You cannot assume everyone who is from Israel is a Zionist. You can't assume everyone who's Jewish is a Zionist.
There have been plenty of people in Israel who have spoken up against about the state.
Yeah, genuinely. One of the famous Oscar-winning documentaries last year was someone got arrested for it, didn't they? Yeah. So, it always frames it differently, especially because, frankly, and this is where I'm going to try and pull all of these controversy points together, so I'm going to really think about how I say it, and we give other people grace, give me a little bit of grace, because I'm going to try my best. I feel as though there is an understandable line between people hating The Last of Us specifically because it's woke, because of the queer storyline, the trans stuff that wasn't even real. Yeah. The fact that, I mean, there was a trans character. There was a trans character, but it wasn't Abby. But I mean, even the stuff with Abby of just a muscular woman overpowering the main man, and both in the second game, you're just playing as the women. Yeah. One of them is a lesbian. One of them isn't what gamer men think women should look like. Yeah. And draw a line between that and blaming specifically Neil Druckmann and hating on him for it, and frankly then using that and weaponizing the people's emotional response to Israel-Palestine as a critique of Neil Druckmann, when frankly some of the comments I've seen don't give the energy that people care about that specifically.
Yeah.
For example, I was looking into Naughty Dog's newest game, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, which we'll talk about more in a minute. But I saw so many comments just, saying about Druckmann himself and his involvement in the game. But frankly, and I know this gets thrown around as a defense against Zionists and people who are actually for Israel 100%, saying, they deserve their land and things like that. And they just say, oh, well, if you don't agree with that, you're anti-Semitic. And obviously, like we said, we're fucking pro-Palestine.
Yeah.
But some of the comments I've seen towards Neil Druckmann are anti-Semitic.
Are they?
Yeah.
I know. It's a horrible overlap.
Exactly. It's so complicated because obviously, yes, people should criticize him for being a centrist.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not definitely they should. But that doesn't mean you can then say some of the things I've seen online.
Yeah.
And it does give the vibe.
And then
it's
fucked up because if you point that out, people will be like, now's not the time to point out anti-Semitism, which I've seen from genuine leftists. Yeah. Which I'm just like, no, you could.
Both things can be true. You can criticize two things at once.
Yes.
And, I'm not saying everyone who criticizes or calls out, Druckmann's Israeli heritage and how that will influence his current life and things like that. Of course not. It's an obvious connection to make. I'm just saying, just because he makes games with women in them doesn't mean, for example, I watched a video, and I'm not going to name the video because I'm not getting involved with all these grifter shit because they'll somehow find us. I don't care. But it was one of those
Out Studios woke. And it's like a very
shock.
Very unflattering photographs that we upload ourselves with big arrows.
When we make it.
Oh yeah, should we beat him to it?
Fuck it. Oh, well, I know what's going on the Instagram this week. Okay, but it was one of those videos talking about because I genuinely was like, I need to find out as much as I can about Neil Druckmann. Why do people hate him? And all the comment, when someone was giving Neil Druckmann was born in Israel, on this date, I went in the comments, there were people like, oh, after the first sentence, I understood everything. And just saying shit like that, the second I found out he was Jewish or he was from Israel, I completely understand where this all went. And it's like, what?
It's crazy time.
Yeah, it's just a lot. I've had a fucking miserable morning going through and grifter shit.
Oh god,
it's horrible. And I kind of just want to end off on saying about how, okay, fair enough if you genuinely hate Neil Druckmann, whatever. That's your prerogative.
You can hate this work.
Yeah,
understandable.
Genuinely, yeah. If you hate The Last of Us, fair enough. That's fine. If you hate the newest game, Intergalactic Heretic Prophet, whatever it's called, fair enough. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to use a word that they I don't hate saying it, that a lot of these grifters like to use. When I go on fucking Intergalactic Prophet, whatever, Heretic Prophet, whatever it's called, the new game, or I go on The Last of Us trailers to look at them or anything to do with this show, and I see comments about how Neil Druckmann has ruined everything and how, this game is actually bad because it's got a bald woman in it, and it's just jokes about that. It just feels fucking virtue signaling.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of guys, a bunch of fucking, frankly, you know what? I'm going to be vitriolic. I'm going to give myself 30 seconds to
fucking
just pop off. It's a bunch of fucking chuds online who will just fucking have so much of, this one's got a woman. Look at this. She's not a real woman. It's the same fucking people who make these edits of, say, Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn or Mary Jane from Spider-Man on the PlayStation and just saying,
big tits.
Yeah, this is what they should look like. And it's just a fucking face beat full of makeup. And it's like, What are you on? What are you fucking doing? And I said this to you, and this is, again, I'm going on my high horse. I said this to you yesterday where I'm like, some people post things online, and I just can't help but think, have you not got fucking friends you can talk to this about?
Clearly not.
Why are you fucking posting about, I'm like a full fucking 20-minute video with a picture of the character from the newest game and her bald head and being like, this game's ruining Naughty Dog.
I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
It is true. It's completely virtue signaling because they're virtue signaling to people who have no friends.
Yeah,
they're doing it for profit. They're trying to cultivate an audience of very lonely men.
And who hate
women.
Exactly. And if you are one of those people and you're still listening, first of all, thank you for making it through that 30-second bullying episode. But genuinely, these people who are trying to say about, this game is bad because it's got a woman, and I know that's an oversimplification, but anytime you see fucking something being called woke or unironically being criticized online for just having a disabled character, having a trans character, having a queer narrative. They don't care about you. They want you for views and money and profit. And they will change their tune to whatever suits them best. There were people who genuinely criticized The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2 for genuine reasons, but if everyone universally praised it, all of these people would have changed their fucking tunes.
Yeah.
An example I like to give is the Predator film Prey, which is my favorite Predator film. When that was announced, female protagonist.
That's virtue signaling.
That is everything's virtue signaling. That female protagonist, Native American. Oh, how's she going to defeat the Predator? This looks shit. This is garbage.
It's fake!
And yeah, it's like
it's a movie!
It's a movie, and this is a game, and none of it's real. And frankly, none of us know who the real Druckmann is in real life. Maybe he's horrible.
Actually, yeah, if he comes out and his political line is just like, no, I'm pro the Israeli government.
Pro-Israel, pro-Trump.
Then disregard everything we said, he can burn in fucking hell.
Yeah. If you've listened to our IT Cred episode, we said
honestly,
kind of the same with
he
Rain Man.
He should come out and be more pro-Palestine. Fucking every celebrity show.
This is my biggest problem, and this is
honestly
maybe,
I think what's his name? Tom fucking Venom. What's his name?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy's come out with some pro-Palestine stuff, and now there's just been a media onslaught with him, like trying to end his career.
It's crazy how much of the media still tries to. I mean, Rachel Zegler, for example.
Yeah.
Young, very acclaimed actress. Thankfully now is still getting incredible things in America. But you said about, and this is insane. I still don't know if I fully believe this. The shit with her in Evita, where Evita, if you don't know the musical Evita, there's a very famous balcony scene. And because of all the death threats against Rachel Zegler, who is younger than us, and all she did was speak as being pro-Palestine, they've had to adjust the show for her safety. It's crazy. It is mad how people still are on a different side of this, especially the media. Yeah. And it sucks because then grifters will weaponize this and say shit like, oh, it's because the Jews control the media, which is also wrong.
It drives us insane.
It is. Oh, God.
It's a video game.
It's crazy. That's the thing. We shouldn't have to talk about this. We should. It's like, we could have not, but then that would have been disingenuous.
No, I think it's important to put everything into context, and politics is incredibly contextual.
It is. Everyone's like, oh, can't say everything is political, that's overused. No, it is. Truly it is.
Truly it is.
And if you think it's not, engage with things. Fuck you. That also, but also engage with things. We're getting angry, but honestly, it's fun to I think it's fun to engage with this stuff. Yeah. Because even though it makes you emotional, isn't that what you want from art?
Yeah. You don't bury your head in the sand.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to feel things. Yeah. Even if it's angry, like with Last of Us Part 2.
I guess we're kind of lucky that we could just sort of vent to each other.
Yeah, that's true. And
I'm just like, fuck, this is driving me crazy.
Yeah, and the thing is, our own context of our lives make a difference as well.
I think it's also contextual that when all that happened with The Last of Us Part 2, the pandemic was happening, everyone was incredibly lonely.
Oh, and online,
and online, which gave everyone brainworms. Yeah. People were insane during the pandemic.
Yeah, some of the things people said, even...
sometimes I see clips from 2021. I'm just like, fuck me, man.
Yeah.
What was happening?
I mean, one of my favorite memes and copy pastas is queer platonic group chats and queer chats during the pandemic, and it is mad. I'm not saying it's only the right wing grifters that lost their minds. I think everyone lost their minds a little bit.
Yeah, but we were just kind of lucky we had our friends.
Yeah, exactly. We're very lucky in these circumstances. But I just want to quickly add about our there is just also take everything we've said with a grain of salt and always question everything.
Yeah, we're not about this.
Take fucking everything with a grain of salt, even the publications and everything like that.
Yeah, a lot of online sources are often incorrect.
Yeah. And like we said, the media is controlled by the Jews. Obviously, that was a joke.
We are pivoting. No, we're pivoted to right-wing grifters. Yeah. Hot One Out Studios has made no money thus far, and we need it. Yeah. Support us now. Buy our supplements. You will have the biggest, hardest erection.
You will. Women will love it.
Women will love it.
Yeah.
Sign up now for our dating courses.
Yeah, I could teach you, I don't know why, but the thing that came in my head was, I could teach you stand-up magic. I think grifters in my head still occupy the same space that magicians do.
You can show up some close-up magic on how to get pussy.
Yeah. Hey, it works.
It works.
Check, what card have you got?
What card have you got?
It's a picture of my dick. Oh, shit. I wanted to mention the misinformation thing because it happened earlier when I was researching. There's someone who worked on the Uncharted games, Amy Henning, who was very much responsible for the success of Uncharted. I saw people saying, it's disgusting that she doesn't get acknowledgement for The Last of Us. And as far as I know, and as far as the people responding to those comments know, she didn't work on The Last of Us.
No, no one else did. Neil Druckmann went into a bunker and came out with a fully done video game on a platter.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, of like, there's a very miscommunication of who did what and who worked on what.
It's interesting.
And,
we've recently saw The Backrooms.
Yes,
right?
we did.
And which also ties into Obsession.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people who, there's been like quite a lot of opinions about it, a lot of really positive ones, some mixed ones, but a lot of people, I saw, frankly, a lie that said that they were ghost directed. And I think people are, because the fact that the directors are so young.
Yeah.
And I think people struggle to grasp the fact of how many people work on these productions.
Yes.
That it isn't just a mastermind. I think more often than not, with behind the scenes stuff and general marketing, it's easier to push a general creative at the forefront and say all these decisions came from them. How did you do this?
And that's the thing. And I'm saying this as, someone an outsider to the games. Yes, I knew the name Neil Druckmann, but so many people worked on these games.
Yeah.
He might be the face of it in the same way. Yeah, hundreds of people. In the same way that we're big proponents of film and horror in general. And I personally didn't like Obsession. I loved The Backrooms, but I like what I've seen from Curry Barker. I like what I've seen from Kane Parsons. I hope that, those young men get like good, prolific careers, even if I hate the fact that they're younger than us.
Yeah.
But even then, yes, they're the faces of these productions. You can agree with that or disagree with whether they should be, for different reasons. For example, one random example is, speaking of other YouTubers' movies, obviously Markiplier was the face of Iron Lung because he was so heavily involved, it basically just made it himself. But then you've got Raka Raka, who did make films, but were less in the production of it. I feel like now companies are catching on to the fact of the narrative of YouTuber films, whereas Talk to Me and Bring Her Back was earlier. So
they didn't think to incorporate that.
Yeah, but you never want to take away from the work that everyone does. And, it's not to discredit the work that they have done.
Absolutely not.
But it's a team. It's a team effort.
Yeah, I'm guessing they didn't put all the lights up.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't create all the costumes. They didn't hold the boom mic.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to shout out all the people that I did earlier. And even that is a fraction of the people. Yeah. That is just the team that is listed. If hundreds of people, that's what the fucking credits are for at the end of these games and at the ends of these films and shows. When the credits grow, there's so many fucking, there's jobs and terms you didn't even know existed.
Best boy?
Best boy. So. Yeah.
Who's the worst boy?
Worst boy. That's me.
You just someone who gets hated on set and they just get the credit worst boy.
I think that'd be really funny.
That would be horrific. You would get sued so hard.
Imagine watching the credits. No, what if up front you were just like, one of you will be the worst boy.
It's just a natural fact on these sets.
That's how they get the fucking people to work the hardest. Oh yeah. Also, speaking of just general criticisms, obviously you can always criticize the gaming industry and The Last of Us for crunch. Yeah. Unacceptable practice.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the annoying things when people say like, oh, everything's on Neil Druckmann. Like, he wasn't the one putting in fucking a 24-hour days or whatever and working his ass off.
Yeah, he's not missing family holidays.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's genuinely fair things to criticize, and it's got all those thoughts out there, and we're done with video games now. We're
never going to play a video game.
I'm done with video games forever. You know what one of my pet peeves is with video games, of AAA video games, as someone who does play some of them? And I talked with our friend Val, who is a prolific gamer, but she'll never listen to this, so I'm just going to throw her under the bus. And I was surprised that she disagreed with me on this. I fucking hate the segments where you walk around, pick up an item, and then it's like, I remember when this picture was taken. Those were the days. Fucking laziest world building in life. It drives me up the wall, and The Last of Us did this as well, and it just I hate it. And I said this to Val, who famously in our friend group hates AAA games, and she was like, no, I like it when they do that. I was like, fuck's sake, I can't win. I hate it when games do that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I'm glad you do. Even, games I like do it. Spider-Man does it, Ghost of Fiote does it, and you don't need it.
I think they just want to show off an item that they rendered in high
it's
quality
like you
detail.
can zoom in and
just spin it.
Spin.
Spin.
It trips me at the wall. And when I was watching the show and before playing the game and seeing Sarah interact with the environment, I was just like, I can see it. I can see the gameplay.
Yeah. I like when they rendered the bed with the curtain.
Oh,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that any fucking wavy graphics like that is really impressive.
Yeah.
Especially when I thought the remaster looked stunning.
Yeah, it looks great.
Genuinely really good graphics in that game. Yeah. I did post on the Reddit. People, it did get taken down, which is fair enough, but they actually messaged me about it, so whatever. So someone said on the Reddit, I thought the first episode did a good job overall. The one thing I disliked is the last scene, because it's heavily changed from the game and makes changes to the character personalities in a way that ripples through the rest of the season, in a way that makes the relationship between Joel and Ellie less developed.
Fair enough.
That's interesting.
Is that the... I guess they're referring to like the fighting?
The meeting scene? I assume so, because that's basically the last scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting, thinking about how...
Yeah, because we were kind of harping on that quite
and we
extensively.
talked about... Obviously, we were watching this in the context of one episode, but of course, these changes do have ripple effects.
Yeah, especially when a show like this is filmed in just one chunk.
Yeah.
It has its benefits.
Yeah.
Such as, like, you have the more cohesive story.
Yeah.
Kind of, like, negatives, I feel.
Yeah, they can't really respond
to... It's not going to be a, what do you call it, pantsing? You're not able to naturally develop and grow in certain regards.
Yeah, I genuinely think, I know we've spoken before about the whole, bring back the 22 episode season thing, but I think the thing that people yearn for, rather than the episode count, is more just, when there was that break in between, shows could kind of respond to what people were saying a little bit more.
Yeah, and that you could fairly criticize something for doing that, just like, oh, they're just doing what people want. But it can't be said that you can learn more about the show itself whilst you're making it, and you can understand what's strong about it.
Yeah, exactly. And someone actually... Oh, that's a different response. But yeah, exactly. Someone said, episode 1 did an amazing job of capturing the opening of the show. It was heartbreaking and intense, just like the game, with their own spin on of it to make it new. We don't get to know Sarah like that, or see early signs of infection. So it made it feel a lot bigger and less isolated, including the fact that they know they've known the neighbors for years and years. It really adds to the impact when Joel kills his first infected. So the person in their neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Overall, very good episode. The rest of season 1 has its bad sides, but overall it's a sort of solid adaptation. And then they went on to talk about they talked in the comments with someone about season 2 opinions, just about changes and stuff, but we won't get into that. Episode 1 would be make or break depending on how they would handle the outbreak scene from the game. I loved how the first episode, half of the episode, was essentially building up Sarah's character, only to lead to the insane climax, just to hit as hard as the game did. But IMO had even improved on the chaos of the outbreak, using a long take and more context of what took place on the day before it went to hell.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I felt. Post time skip, we immediately see the world has practically been destroyed, and how humanity has changed, and we see... Oh, we never talked about this. I actually really like this scene. We see another kid die not even 5 minutes after Sarah did. I love that scene of showing empathy after the time skip. Of they scan the kid.
Oh yeah.
And it's not brutal. They don't just shoot the kid. It's they don't even tell the kid that, oh, you're infected, you're gonna die. They frame it as, oh, what if I say we're gonna get you your favorite food and some toys, as they lethally eject the kid and they cut away.
Yeah, that's true,
think that's really effective of showing, they've got the tracking down to see if they can tell if someone's infected, but they're not treating it without empathy. I think that's actually a really effective scene. I'm glad they brought that up, because I would have
I
if I didn't acknowledge that.
It was really good, to be fair.
And got to give credit where it's due. The first scene with the 60s talk show was a really good tone setter for the rest of the show. I agree with that. I like the tone in that scene.
Felt a little derivative, but yeah, I still kind of like how it was executed. I'm a sucker for interviews before an apocalypse.
That's fair. I just like the quiet when people are like, oh, this is fun to talk about in theory, and then just the, oh god. Like
I want that conversation to happen on like a Jimmy Fallon or something.
Exactly. Another thing we didn't really talk about, but just very quickly, is the opening credits. Very HBO style, fair enough. I don't have many thoughts on them. All I could think was, though, I kind of wish they would never do this, but I love talking about title cards. I kind of wish they did it after Sarah's death.
Yeah, that would have been
just left you go full into it. I understand.
Cold open, there's 30 minutes, fuck yeah.
Yeah, and then like you're like, oh fuck, you're crying, and then that starts, and then it's the time skip. I think that would have been
that would have been so good.
Yeah, but I don't know how TV shows do it. Like, movies can have a title card 30 minutes in. It's not really common for TV shows to do that.
Okay, who cares?
Yeah. I agree, but we used to do this, but we haven't done it in fucking ages, where we talked about the viewership numbers.
Oh, yeah.
But because lots of shows just don't do that, especially ones that are just lost to time.
Yeah.
But this actually did have viewership numbers, which was cool, considering it was a streaming show. The premiere had 4.7 million viewers in the US on HBO Max, including HBO Max.
Yeah.
It was the second largest HBO debut behind House of the Dragon, which I think is really impressive.
Yeah.
In terms of response, Last of Us was the first live-action video game adaptation to receive award considerations. The first season was nominated for 24 Primetime Emmy Awards, with 8 wins at the Creative Arts Emmy Awards.
Well, there you go.
So it was critically acclaimed as well.
Probably the most acclaimed, at least this season, was the most acclaimed video game adaptation ever.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think so. And, but what was your favourite thing that we covered for this season?
I was thinking about that.
Honestly, very different. I guess mine would... I'm most nostalgic for Pokemon, but...
I don't know, actually. I gotta really think about that.
The most interesting history was Donkey Kong. I didn't realise Donkey Kong went that
That was
deep.
really fun.
Yeah.
Maybe Pokemon
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah. Pokemon is the one I'm, obviously have most of an attachment for, so it makes sense to just say Pokemon.
Mario was very funny.
Mario was very funny.
That was a good laugh.
But a very funny season.
Yeah, this is a great
There's lots
season.
of
I've been
things
very
there.
happy with how all these episodes turned out.
Yeah. And we're going into expanding in more things. We're doing a first now. I mean, because we're still in first year, there's going to be most of everything is kind of a first time thing.
Yeah,
Like
a first-time
Flyers,
flyer.
yeah. But we're doing a season based on a channel, which we haven't done before.
No.
So we are doing...
I mean, we kind of did CW.
yeah,
but that was superheroes.
That was superheroes specifically.
There's so much CW shit.
Yeah, we didn't do Riverdale and
Yeah.
other stuff, yeah. So we're doing MTV season. So we're going to be talking about Beavis and Butthead, Pimp My Ride. I think it's Beavis and Butthead, Aeon Flux, Pimp My Ride, Catfish. Jackass. Cut out the fucking 30-second silence.
Make it longer.
Make it longer. I can't keep experimenting with this. I feel like every time I add the fucking tumbleweed effect, we lose more listeners.
No, it's funny.
But yeah, and so if you're interested in any of those, or if you've got any thoughts, you can email us at firsttimeflyerspodcast@gmail.com, and you can keep up to date with us on our social media, TikTok and Instagram, First Time Flyers Podcast. We also have another podcast called All Hail the King, where we talk about Stephen King adaptations. At the minute, we're doing we just did Creepshow, so if you're interested in anthology
very fun
horror,
episode.
very fun episode, really enjoyed that. So that'll be out soon, if not already, and you can find that and more things from First Time Flyers on YouTube at Pod One Out Studios. Not much more to say.
I've got nothing more to say. Tune in next week for MTV.
Tune in next week. We're doing Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Oh god, we're gonna be unbearable.
Fire.
Last of Us.
Last of Us.
Goodbye.
Bye. This is a polite way to end.
Yeah. No screaming, just ending.
Cabin crew, prepare for landing. Thank you for flying with us today. We hope you have a pleasant rest of your journey, and you join us next week when we depart for Beavis and Butthead.